Detective Tyraku is back here again, guys. 9 days ago, for those of you who may have forgotten, though I've had a lot of people asking me if I'm going to do a video covering this current Champion Chase tournament. So 9 days ago, I did a video talking about some player who, well, one, looked like a generic name, a player 121 bunch of numbers after that name. Now that could have been somebody changing their name. However, I did find out what that is, and I'll show you guys in just a little while. But they were putting up 600,000 plus points when second place was putting up 200,000. That's a massive difference, especially when you have known Krakens, known massive whales putting up that 200,000 points. It looks a little bit weird. And then I got a message from somebody saying that that player was in a bracket for Ragash. Now, Ragash was for players who were level 51 to 80. If you were 81 to 98, you got Nekmo, and then 99 to 100 got Kaimar. Ragash is a great champion, but he's not worth going in debt for. Basically, that player, off of the soft math that I did, probably spent anywhere between $14,000 and $35,000 in resources over the course of that 3 or 4 day tournament. Now, today, fast forward 9 days ahead, this player is once again putting up some insane numbers. Now, in my previous video, I want to show some of the comments, but check this out. We're going to go over how much he spent. We're going to go over some potential things that are happening, and then I want to show you some other very cool stuff. So, first up, some comments in the previous video. Some players were saying that maybe he's a seed, basically planted there to encourage other people to spend and kind of keep that race. I don't necessarily think it's Plarium doing anything sketchy. So I don't think Plarium's doing anything weird. They make plenty of money from everybody. I don't think they need somebody who's putting up this many points. I do, however, think if it was a seed or like somebody planted, and I've heard of that happening in other video games before, specifically mobile games, that would make a lot more sense if the player was like, say, 190,000 points, like these two players, for example. Maybe that would be a seed. But I don't think that's going on in this first place player's position because this player is way above anybody. Nobody's competing with him whatsoever. So next thing, we had some people saying they're bots, possibly likely cheating, and a few different comments. But somebody, shout out to Maximariel, made a good point. You can check by changing the language of the name. His name will change. This is interesting. So what I was asking in the previous video was, is this player somebody who just changed their name to player blank, 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 blank? That's definitely a possibility, right? Doesn't necessarily mean a ton. Let's go ahead and check this out, okay? I put hey in this chat, and you see my name? No, I can't show you my name. It says Ty YT right there. Maybe I could just move my webcam. That's a lot better. So let's go ahead and scoot myself over here. So you see my name, Ty YT, and a lot of players right here. Before we get into the actual calculation of his money spent, I want to show you this. All right, so player 121 whatever, if he changed his name to something else, if he changed it to player blank, 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 well, then the name would change. You can see here, all these players are actually player names that have not been changed. They're obviously bots. They're accounts that are just to spam the general chat. You see this all the time. So all these players, their names changed. My name did not change. Now we go over here to this tournament and we see that this player in first place, well, you guys can already guess it. His name did not change. Now, he definitely could be tight on money. He could not have enough gems to pay for a name change, or he could just not know about that. But you can see this player right here, player 1134, he's just trying to look sketchy, but he's not. He changed his name, so that is what it is. And then you scroll on through here, we don't see any more of the players that are named like this, I guess player in French. Don't see any more of them throughout here. So that is pretty cool. So if you ever have a question, hey, did this person never change their name? Just change the language and you can find that out. Now, not change your name doesn't necessarily mean, oh, this is a bot. This is some sketchy stuff going on. But it's definitely more suspicious when you spend 50,000, hundreds of thousands of dollars, I can say, and you don't change your name. So for that player, real quick, in case they don't know, you can come here to the gem shop and buy name changer, and for 20 gems. I mean, it's a very, very small price to pay, and you can change your name, or you can just leave it as it is. But either way, let's jump into how much money this player potentially spent, and then I want to get into the actual theories that I have. So in the previous video, I wasn't talking too much about what I was thinking could be going on because I didn't want to say anything that I shouldn't say and encourage necessarily bad actions. So first things first, don't do any of the stuff that I'm talking about at the end of the video. You can get your account banned. You can get the account that you're accessing banned, and you can just waste all of your money. Before we get into that, so let's go ahead and do the math on how many ancient shards were pulled. So we're gonna do 627,160, and we're gonna divide that by 54 points per ancient shard. So he pulled approximately 11,000 11,614 ancients. That is crazy. 11,614 ancients is what this player pulled. So how many legendaries would that be? Let's say you got 1 in every 100, which is not necessarily likely, but either way, 11614 divided by 100, he pulled approximately 116 legendaries. You know as well as I do, this player could have pulled a lot more or a lot less legendaries than this. But just for comparison's sake, my account is about 3 years old with about, let's call it $13,000 spent. So it's definitely now free to play and it's been in the game for a long time. How many legendary champions do I have? Non-void. So we're gonna go affinity, we're gonna go magic, force, and spirit, and then we're gonna go rarity. Rarity, legendary. I have 160 legendary champions. Granted, I do have a bit more because I have some a +4 champion and a +1. So you could say 165 legendaries. Now, some of these are free, some of these are fusions, some of these are login champions. So there's a whole mix of it. But over the course of 3 years and about $15,000 spent, I've pulled 160 legendaries. Over the course of about less than 72 hours and a lot more money spent, this player's pulled about 116 legendaries. If that doesn't tell you that you're not going to catch up to the big, massive whales, I don't know what else will. So comparing your account to mine, where are you at? How many legendaries do you have? We got an idea of about maybe how many legendaries this player pulled, but let's go ahead and see about how much money was spent. So 11,614 ancients. Now you can buy just ancient shards. So you can basically buy unlimited ancient shards, which all you have to do is come here to the shop, go over here to the gem shop, buy a stack of 11 for 900 gems. So right here, let's just say 11 for 900. This player is going to have spent about 950,000 gems. Guys, I think that's more gems than I've ever had. Like, this is a test server account moved over to the live servers. This is crazy amount of gems. Now, let's come over here to the offer calculator, the one I used last time, the Aftershock United GG offer calculator, and scroll down to the ancient shards, okay? So say we were gonna do 11,614 ancient shards. Say your birthday came up, your birthday for the past, I guess, 90 years, and you wanted to invest on something, okay? What are you gonna spend your 90 years worth of birthday money on? Well, if you were to buy ancient shards, you could get 11,614 of them for about $14,000. That's the estimated price, but let's say we want a good deal at least. So let's just get it at a discounted rate, 12,500. So that's 125,000. So $12,500 can be average. Let's go ahead and do it for 10,000. Hey, that's a good deal. $10,000 for 11,000 ancients. That's actually sounds like a pretty decent deal. However, I would not buy that all at once, but my account, hey, there we go. I'm not buying that right now anyways, but compare that to gems, 950,000 is going to be $11,000. So $10,000. However, I say that, and the only way for you to buy unlimited gems would be to come in here. So how many packs of 4,200 gems is 950,000? Divided by 4,200 times 100. So $22,000. So basically $20,000. We'll call it that. $20,000. If you were just going to jump in here, you were a player who hasn't been farming for a long time, $20,000, you have yourself a big pile of gems. So between these two events, this player would have spent $20,000 in this one, and they would have spent another 15 to 35,000. We'll call it 25,000 because he had about as much points in the void event. So basically $45,000, somewhere around there in the course of 10 days. That is crazy. $45,000 spent in resources over the course of 10 days. Now, this player was also the top of the Soulstone tournaments. So we got one of three things happening here, guys. And some of these are going to be more so general issues potential. And then the other ones are going to be possibly what this player is. Now let's jump into the side of things that as a content creator in the content creator program, I can't go into extreme details because I can't promote this stuff, obviously because it goes against the terms of service and you're going to get your account banned and I will get kicked out of the content creator program. So the stuff I'm going to tell you about is not stuff I'm going to tell you to do by no means whatsoever. But first thing is bot accounts. Now we all know this happens. We can see it literally every single time. Artak, Ninja, UDK, Deliana, any of those login champions, whenever it comes at 7 days or whatever, and you can get the champion, you will see tons of players, even for weeks on end, that are like player 118003, whatever it may be. those players are claiming Ninja. Those players are claiming Artec, whatever champion it is, tons of players are claiming that. Now, obviously, if they're doing that, what they're doing with those accounts is they're claiming all of these login reward champions, and then they're going to be selling that account. Obviously, that is not going to give you 600,000 points. However, the next level to that is instead of selling accounts with just those champions, they're selling accounts with shards, with gems. So with more resources than just those champions, that still is not going to give you 600,000 points by no means. However, if you're a level 50 account, which is probably close to where these players are at, if you're a level 50 account and you're being matched up in brackets with other level 50 players who have been spending the resources, spending everything, and have been working hard, well, now the bot account, the purchased account, is opening tons of shards, tons of gems at a fraction of the price that you've spent, and they're going to be getting a leg up in those tournaments. So that is the first thing that I do think could cause tournaments to be in a very bad situation, especially for those lower level players. For the higher level players, it's not going to be that big of a deal because the couple hundred shards, couple thousand gems isn't going to be significant. But for those low levels, it definitely is going to be. So that's the first thing, is the bot accounts. Like I said, I do not believe this is what is going on in that first place whatsoever. The next thing is something that we've been seeing a lot of recently, a lot of talk about recently, and that is currency swapping. Now, let's say you're paying $1 in your currency. Now, it could be a pound, a euro, whatever it is. Say you're paying 1 in your currency. Well, you swap it to a different currency that maybe you're paying 40 cents, 50 cents per dollar spent, and it's going to be obviously a significant difference. So instead of spending that $20,000 that this player is supposedly spending, well, now you're spending $10,000, which is a ton of money, but you're getting way ahead of players who even spent 3 years and $15,000 in the game. You're getting way ahead of them in the course of a weekend because of how little money you've spent, but how much of the in-game impact it actually has. Now, the currency swap, maybe it's what's going on, maybe it's not. Either way, this is a thing that does happen. We've already seen it talked about. It was a huge topic not too long ago, but either way, that is a potential thing. It happens in tons of different video games, but it's a potential thing right there. Next up, we have CC fraud and theft. Now, this is getting a little bit more into the, you're going to probably be facing some legal ramifications if this is actually what's happening, but it's a legit thing. It was happening a while back in the game. There were some players who were heavily known for doing CC credit card, not content creator, but credit card fraud and theft, basically stolen credit card information, buying packs, making purchases in game, and then, well, you ain't got to pay for that. It's not your money, so you can just spend whatever you want. Obviously, this is a massive issue, but as far as what you can do to actually stop it, who knows? The next thing is oil prints. So oil prints is very likely. Could just be a super rich player who has tons of money to spend and doesn't know no place better to spend it than Raid Shadow Legends and pop in some of those sweet legendary champions. So could be an oil prints, could be credit card fraud and theft, could be currency swap, and could be bot accounts. For me, what on a tier list would I rank these in possibilities? This would be, so we have 4 options here. This would be 4. It's not a bot account. Well, maybe it was purchased at one point, but either way, it's likely not that. It's a low-level account. We already know that because it was in a Regash bracket. It spent a ton of money, so why would you need to purchase an account if you are going to spend that much money anyways? So probably not a bot account. Currency swap, it's likely. It's actually pretty possible. Put it at number 2. CC fraud and theft. I like to give people the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to say it's probably not CC fraud or theft, though it could be. And if we never see this player again in the next few weeks, then maybe that's probably what it was. And then number 1, I'm going to say an oil prince. So even if this player is an oil prince, they are a billionaire's son or even a billionaire's daughter. Hey, girls play the game as well. That doesn't exclude the fact that these other things do happen. Now, some of these are more legal than others. Some of these are more cheating than others. But ultimately, they're all going to give players an advantage, unfair or not. Either way, they're going to give players an advantage over other players, and some of them may be very significant. I've seen iTunes scams going around. Basically, you spend $40 to get $100 plus worth of iTunes gift cards. There's all kinds of different stuff out there. Maybe you just get your money stolen. I guess it's the gamble you have to take. And then discounted packs and currency swapping. That stuff happens. It's been happening for a long time. Bot accounts. This, I think, most impacts newer players because the accounts you purchase are typically in those newer brackets, and we all know that happens. We see that happening all the time. You can literally see anytime they have a free login reward champion, whether it's for giveaways or for purchasing accounts, whatever it may be, that goes on. But ultimately, there are a few different ways this could be happening. All 4 of them are pretty legitimate and very possible to be happening. Do I think this player is doing any of those? I have no clue, honestly. They haven't changed their name, which seems weird, but it's hard. There's no way to actually say. There's no way to know for sure if this player is doing any of these 4 things. I don't think it's anything nefarious being done by Plarium. I don't think they're planting this player to push up the brackets in other players' brackets, because this player is pushing up so many points. If you're going to encourage other players to spend, then you would do it incrementally. Like you'd have, like here, number 2 and number 3. That's an excellent example. But you'd have to have a better first place reward than 6-star mythical gear. The 6-star mythical gear is very nice. I would love to win that, but ultimately, that's not what's going to be encouraging other players for spending. Now, with all of that said, this player has one thing that we know for certain. They have opened a ton of shards. They probably have Carpal Tunnel in their hand. In case you don't know what Carpal Tunnel is, let's go ahead and check that out. So, Carpal Tunnel. Let's go ahead and check it out. So carpal tunnel syndrome is a common condition that causes numbness, tingling, and pain in the hand and forearm. The condition occurs when one of the major nerves in the hand, the median nerve, is squeezed or compressed as it travels through the wrist. Basically, it goes from moving your mouse too much. We'll just say it like that, but it's like a repetitive motion injury as far as I'm aware. But ultimately, if you're opening on a mobile device, this player needs somebody to check on him, a wellness check, because that is insane. But if he's doing it on PC, that is a lot of space to clear. Why do they not get extra mythical gear? It's a lot of space to clear, a lot of shards to open. I'm impressed. That is a ton of shards. Hopefully, he got a Vogoth through all of that. I know I've opened up 1,000+ shards and gotten no Vogoth, so hey, best of luck to him. But either way, guys, hopefully that was interesting to you all. Thank you all very much for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you all in the next one.